Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Greg and welcome back to my channel. In today's project, I'm going to show you exactly how I built this solid wood oak dining table. I'm building this table for one of my clients and they requested specific dimensions. And I'm going to start my project off by packing all my pieces of wood out on a flat surface so I can have a very good idea of how big my table is going to be. And I'm also packing them out so I can actually see the grain and the cracks on the wood, and I can sort them out so all the better pieces is showing upwards. After I sorted out all my timbers, I'm going to mark out where I need to cut my wood, and always remember, at this stage of the project, don't cut your table to its final size. Always measure a little bit bigger, and then later on we're going to cut our table to its final sizes. Moving on to my miter saw, I'm going to cut all my pieces of timber to size. And the nice thing about one of the suppliers we buy all our timber from, we can use all their facilities of planing the wood down and ripping the edges, so I've got a nice square piece of timber to work with. To join all my pieces of wood together, I'm going to use some biscuits and some wood glue, and now I'm just busy marking out exactly where I want all the biscuits to be. And I roughly measure them about 400 millimeters apart. I honestly don't know if there's a wood specification to determine the measurements between your biscuits, but I find 400 mil works for me the best. And also make sure when you're marking out exactly where the biscuits is going, so your timbers is not going to move, otherwise your biscuits is not going to line up when you're going to do the glue up. And also a massive tip to mark your wood one to wherever you go, so once you've done all your biscuit joints you can pack them in the order they were before. Moving on to cutting the biscuit joints in my timber, I am using the bigger biscuits, the 20mm. I find that these ones work the best and giving me the best bond to build my larger tables. And off camera I did take a offcut piece of timber to make sure that my joint is exactly in the center of the wood. Moving on to the glue up part of this project, you need to make sure you cover your complete surface with wood glue and make sure you add some additional wood glue inside the pockets you just cut. And remember, don't be too shy with the wood glue. You can always sand them down later on. I'm using more wood glue than I should, but then I know my bond is secure and my table is going to be very strong. Just adding the biscuits and giving them an old smackaroo and adding some additional wood glue over the biscuits once they are installed. And remember, when you're doing a glue up, to pack your clamps exactly already where you want them to be. So once you applied glue to all your pieces of wood, your clamps is already in the position you want them to be. And just repeating the same process over and over until all your pieces of wood are fully glued. So I'm just adding this additional square tubings on top of my table just to make sure that once I'm going to fasten all my clamps, that my table is not going to make a small bend. So I'm clamping the steel square tubing down on the ends and one in the middle to make sure my surface is 100% level. Also remember, when you're going to be fastening all your clamps, you need to see the wood squeezing out in between all the timbers. Now this specific glue up I done before I went home, and I left it overnight and came back and removed all the clamps, so I know for sure 100% my glue is going to be dry. At the beginning of this video, I did mention that I am sorting out all my timbers, so I've got all the nice grains and cracks showing upwards. This is a good example. Yeah, I'm just adding some black wood filler inside all the bigger cracks, and this is going to give the table some more character at the end of the day. And some of the cracks are really deep, so I did the first coat of wood filler. I came back, sand everything down, and then I applied another thin layer of black wood filler over the same cracks, just to make sure it's level with my surface. So at this stage of the project, I am just using a 100 grit sandpaper with my orbital sander, just sanding all the spots that I applied wood filler, just making sure the crack is filled 100%. On my table, there's some parts I don't want to fill with black wood filler. I need to fill it with wood filler that's the same color as my table. And this is a big tip. If you don't know this already, you can just add some wood glue and some sawdust from your table, mix it together, then you have exactly the same color wood filler as your table. I honestly didn't know this was a woodworking hack. This actually happened by mistake. I was doing a wood glue up one day, and when I clamped all my pieces of wood together and the glue squeeze out came out, there was some sawdust on my surface, and I accidentally rubbed the dust and the glue together and came back the next day, and I saw my wood filler changed color. And then I actually done some research, and yes, this is basically the way of creating your own wood filler. Now I'm just marking my table to its final sizes, and I am going to use a straight edge on the side of my table so I can use my circular saw to cut my table to size. Just giving my table a small 45-degree chamfer right around on top and at the bottom, just to give it a nice smooth slick look. Now I'm just placing the steel legs on top of my table so I can mark exactly out where I need to drill to fasten my steel legs to my wooden top. Using my cordless machine and a drill with some masking tape to make sure I don't drill too deep in my table. For this specific project, I am going to use Rubio Monocoat Pure Oil, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of white and some smoky 5%. So Rubio Monocoat is a 1:3 ratio. You need to add 100% oil, and 30% of that will be the activator. And you can see I'm using a syringe to measure the exact amount of oil I need. This is just because Rubio Monocoat is quite expensive, and you rather mix too little than too much. Just remember guys, Rubio Monocoat is not sponsoring us. I honestly just like the product overall, and it's giving me a very good finish on my wooden tables. I did also start experimenting with other oils, so I'll bring out another video with the different oils I'm busy using, so I'll give you my opinion on that in the near future. Applying Rubio Monocoat to my table, I am just using a plastic scraper, moving the oil around the table, and then I'm coming with the Rubio Monocoat pad, and I'm going to apply the oil in a circular motion. Once your complete surface is covered with Rubio, you need to wait about 10 to 20 minutes. You can come with a cloth and wipe everything off. So if you are new around here and you like what you see, you want to learn more how to DIY, subscribe to my channel. And if you are subscribed already guys, support the channel by liking this video. I would honestly appreciate it. This will just help the channel grow and help me to produce future content. And that's it for today, guys. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video, and if you learned something new today, please leave me a comment down below. And if you're going to attempt to build your own table and using some of the techniques I explained to you, please leave me a comment. I would really appreciate it. Thanks guys, enjoy the final product. Cheers, see you next week.